President-elect Trump has yet to name a number of nominees for his cabinet and other top positions. But one thing is clear. He seems to be hiring and interviewing a lot of generals. The question now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Trump has already tapped Marine General James Mattis for Secretary of Defense and retired Army Lieutenant General Michael Flynn as his national security advisor. At least 5 or 6 other generals or admirals are reportedly also in the running for some of the remaining spots. But if you recall, during the campaign, Trump famously said that he knew more than the generals about ISIS. And some policy analysts have warned that Trump could end up relying too heavily on the military for his foreign policy. Here with more, it's Bryan Suits, KFIM 640 radio host in Los Angeles. He's also a combat veteran of Iraq and Bosnia. Hey, Suits, I'm just wiping the hair out of my eyes looking at that beard of yours. It is quite magnetic. Welcome back, you barbarian.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for the skin tag remover.
I don't know what that means. Okay, so let's discuss this a little bit. I believe there is a natural tension here between Donald Trump and the billionaires and business people he knows and he's comfortable with, and the generals and admirals that he's most unfamiliar with because he's got an unrequited love of the military. Is this dangerous?
No, it's not. And the guy is obviously, well, he knows his audience. He knows that the American military has the highest public opinion, response above pinched nerves and Congress and all that. Mattis is universally loved, except for some small exceptions. Petraeus, same as him, except he has a conviction, so that you have to deal with that. Flynn, the same thing. So the guy is playing to his audience, and also, though, I think you're onto something. I think this is a guy who, as famously was once said, men think meanly of themselves who have not been in the Army. I think Trump has had an easy life. He knows it, and he likes surrounding himself with people who tell him that he's a good guy, who have, seen the elephant, as they say.
Yeah, no, I saw the elephant. I hang out with Navy SEALs a lot for the same reason. So we have a tradition in this country of not naming retired military vets and personnel to Secretary of Defense. Why is that? And do you think that we should throw that baby out with the bathwater with Mattis?
Yeah, it's for a real American reason, and it is to have a very actual chronological gap between uniform and suit and tie. Because we take an oath, I took an oath of enlistment, and later I took an oath of commissioning. And our oath is to support and defend the Constitution and to obey all lawful orders. We're taught as officers and NCOs to disobey illegal orders. So it's the natural civilian-military gap is something that the military more proactively than the civilians enforce. And so when George Marshall became Secretary of State, there was a one-time exception. There's a reason for it. In the case of Petraeus, he has a conviction. He would have to be pardoned because he can't be briefed in. He can't see classified documents if he was Secretary of State.
Even for a misdemeanor?
Yes, it was. He still would need a pardon, though. He still cannot hold a clearance. But like I say, that I think there's a usefulness to maintaining that gap. It's not written in law, besides the National Security Act, the 7-year gap that was modified in 2008. But it's an intellectual thing that we serve a guy or woman in a suit and tie or a petticoat.
Petticoats are certainly fetching, especially this time of year. What about people who say if you have this many generals concentrated at the top of the food chain, it's just going to attract more war?
No, those are people who have never served. Those are people who don't know that, Mattis wrote letters home. Mattis lost men. Petraeus, also a combat guy, he was shot in the chest in a training accident in Kentucky. The guy knows the ineffectiveness of the rounds that we use.
Was he training with Dick Cheney?
No, some private just shot him, and it was a close thing.
Yeah.
No, Flynn has never led men in combat. General Colin Powell never had a combat command.
I want to show you this. I don't know if you can see this in the monitor where you're at in Los Angeles, California, but we've got a side-by-side of you and Nick Offerman, and we're talking separated at birth. You guys could be swimming in the same gooey afterbirth right there. You could be twinsies.
That's kind of gross, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I know you will, and you always do. And that's why I love you. Suits, thanks for coming back.
All right, thank you.
Miss you.